Hey, what's up, comic culture? It's your boy CBM in the house and the place to be. And welcome back to my comic book channel, Indie Key Comics, where we collect, review, and invest in indie key comics. And if you like what you've seen thus far on the channel, please click like, subscribe, smash that notification button so you can stay notified, because I will be coming out with comic book content on a daily. I promise you that. With that all said, let's get straight into this video. I can't explain how much I love Ring of Power and House of Dragon. I thought those two shows, those two series were excellent, beyond epic. I don't care what any critics say about either show. I thought both shows were excellent, and I'm pretty sure they're both going to get a season 2, hopefully. But either way, I love both shows, and I wanted to get my hands on something that I could hold on to physically and just dive into and read and enjoy. Because like I said, that's how much I love the series. They were part of pop culture. Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, anything related to them, any sort of spin-off, they're here to stay. They're here for the long run. They're going to hold the test of time because they've already proven themselves to hold the test of time. This is not a speculation video. I'm not speculating on, is Lord of the Rings going to be a success? Is a Game of Thrones spin-off going to be a success? We already know that any Lord of the Rings, any kind of Game of Thrones spin-offs is going to be epic. And these two shows were beyond epic, to say the least, without a doubt. That said, I had to get my hands on some comic books. So let's get to this unboxing. I'm really excited about this. By the way, I'm not too happy or pleased with the way the seller shipped out this book. I always tell the seller that I want the book to be either shipped out in a Gemini mailer or in a box sandwiched in between 2 pieces of cardboard with bubble wrap, popcorn in the box, and a fragile sticker outside of it. But he did the complete opposite. So let's see how this came out. Usually I don't even want to open up packages like this, but I'm really excited about the comic book that should be in here. And I'm really happy with the price I paid for it. So let's see what he did here. Okay, this is more ridiculousness. Well, he did manage to do something correct. He did manage to put it in some sort of fake-looking Gemini mailer, but it's definitely sandwiched in there between 2 pieces of cardboard, and it's definitely well protected. For this, we're gonna need a special guest, making his first appearance on my comic book channel, Indie Key Comics, the handy dandy box cutter. Okay, let's get to this unboxing. Yeah, he did a pretty good job. Not too bad. Sorry for being so critical of him to start off with. And here is this beauty. I can tell right off the back that this book is a 9.6 to a 9.8. I don't see any damage whatsoever on the spine. I am really excited about this. I did not know it was going to be a square bound book. I've never seen these books in person. This is the first time holding this book in hand. I've only seen pictures of them on the internet, like on eBay and Key Collector. So I did not know it was going to be a square bound book. And it is in excellent, gorgeous condition. The spine is perfect. No creases, no stress mark, no tick marks. You can tell the book has never been opened and kept open. You don't see that crease that goes down along the spine. That would indicate the book had been opened and read and kept open for a while. It would have had that crease going from top to bottom, and there's nothing on it. And here it is, in all of its beauty, The Hobbit, issue 1. Gorgeous, gorgeous book. I'm just loving it. So happy to finally have this book in my collection, and I've heard about this book since I was a kid, and like I said, I've never seen it anywhere. I've never seen it in a comic book store, that's for sure. And it's just a great looking book with some really eye-catching, beautiful artwork on it. Just the front cover tells like a little story. It tells like a little tale right there. You could tell that this is the beginning to a great journey. And I just love the way this book looks. The gold trim that goes all the way around it. It's just so awesome looking. I just love it. Real happy to have this book. Let's see what Key Collector has to say about this book. Written in 1989 from Eclipse Comics. It's a 3-issue adaptation of The Hobbit, written by J.R.R. Tolkien. Oh wow. It also includes a map of the Misty Mountains of Wilderland. I did not know that. I cannot wait to see that map. Can't wait to see that. And like I just said, it is a 3-part series. And I will be getting issues 2 and issues 3 as soon as possible. I just couldn't find them on eBay at that time at the price I wanted them to be in. And I couldn't find anyone that was selling issues 1, 2, and 3 grouped in together for a good price. I think at the time people were asking like $150 for all 3, and then you got shipping and for the tax, and it's gonna bring your total up to like $175, almost like $200. And I didn't want to spend that on just the 3-issue series. Key Collector has this at a high of $50 and a low of $5 and a middle price of $15. I paid $30 for issue 1 for this copy. But I think right now on eBay, you're gonna have a hard time finding it at $30. You're more likely gonna pay $50 to $100 for just a raw copy. A graded copy is easily gonna cost you $100 and more, if not $200. Especially if you want it in that high grade of a 9.6 to a 9.8. Man, I even think a 9.4 is gonna run you a pretty penny. But I'm so glad I got this, and I'm so glad I got it raw for such a great deal, because I can tell right off the back, it is in pristine condition. I'm positive that with a good cleaning and pressing, my book is easily gonna grade a 9.6 to a 9.8. I haven't taken a look at the back yet, but I could tell that the book is in perfect condition. There's not even any reader's damage on the spine. I don't see that crease where the book has been opened to have been read. It is just in perfect condition. Really solid looking spine. And let's take one more look at this book before we go on to the next unboxing. And like I said, I will be getting issues 2 and issues 3 to complete the series. That's how much I love The Ring of Power. That's how much I love Lord of the Rings. And I've been into Lord of the Rings since I was a kid. The movies, the books are just beyond epic. I can't tell you how many times I've read the book, how many times I've read the whole series. I just love it, from The Hobbit to Lord of the Rings. I believe it was written in 1937 by J.R.R. Tolkien. That was, what was that, like 85 years ago? This is not a comic book that I'm speculating on. This tale series, it's here to stay. It's held the test of time. 85 years is an extremely long time. So we know The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings, Ring of Power, anything related to it, any sort of spin-off of this series, it's here to stay. It's gonna become a part of pop culture. And I can't say enough about how much I love it and how much I highly recommend investing in this series. And with that said, let's get to this second unboxing. I'm really happy with the way the seller shipped out this package. He did as requested. You know, he sent it out in a Gemini mailer. You just want to take your time opening your packages and be as gentle as possible, just like you would treat a lady. And he did put a fragile sticker on it, which I really appreciate. I think that makes a huge difference when it's out. It's in transit for like 2 or 3 days. I think it really makes a difference if the seller does that. I think it kind of ensures that your package isn't gonna be bent at least. Well, let's see what's in here. Still need the handy dandy box cutter. He did a really good job. So happy when a seller could follow a simple request, which is either ship it in a box or in a Gemini mailer. Either way, I want my comic book to be sandwiched in between two pieces of cardboard. I want it then bubble wrapped. I want it then placed in a box full of popcorn or in a Gemini mailer with a fragile sticker on the outside of it. But he followed it for the most part, and I'm pretty happy about that. And like I said, anytime you're opening up a package, you want to take your time with it, the way you would take your time with a woman, and make sure everything is going good. Definitely don't want to bring any sort of damage to that book that you invested your hard-earned money into. Definitely don't want to bend this book or put a slash into it. That would suck. Okay, it looks like we finally may have it open. No, there is still more stuff to go through. Okay, he really did a really good job securing this book and taping it up. I think he may have gone a little bit overboard, and I'm not sure if I would have used his method of bubble wrapping the comic book and then sandwiching it in between two pieces of cardboard. That to me does not make much sense at all. But either way, it did ensure that the comic book was fully protected and arrived completely safe and undamaged. But this is like some really unnecessary and non-making sense to me. But I don't want to bend the book. And like I said, always take your time, be patient, and be careful unpackaging your books. And I think I finally may be able to get to it. Just don't want to damage this book because this one did cost me a pretty penny also. And finally, I've got to the book. It was wrapped up like a mummy, to say the very least. Right off the back, I do see one little tick mark on it. It's not a big deal. It's not too bad, even though I'm really harsh on my books when it comes to grading. I would say this book can grade anywhere from a 9.4 to a 9.6, but it's definitely not going to hit that 9.8 mark because it does have, from what I could see, at least two little baby tick marks. One of them is worse than the other. But I'm glad to finally have this in my collection. I think anything Game of Thrones related, it's here for the long run. Any sort of spin-off, any sort of comic book, you know, any new show related to Game of Thrones, it's gonna do great. HBO is gonna invest a lot of money into it. It's gonna look great. It's gonna feel like you're watching a movie. They're always gonna invest into the storyline and invest into character building. And boy, do they spend a lot of time into building a lot of characters. So they're definitely into character building, and I feel like these are just stories, they're tales that are here for the long run. They are a part of pop culture, just like Star Trek or Star Wars or Harry Potter. You know, Lord of the Rings has been around for 85 years. Willow's been around for like 40 years. So anything Game of Thrones, House of Dragon, Lord of the Rings, Willow, Wheel of Time, I think those franchises are really worth investing in. And I think you're gonna score really big. And I think you're gonna have some really good luck investing in those franchises. Because I believe in the future, anything Game of Thrones, House of Dragon, Lord of the Rings, it's gonna go up in value. It's gonna be worth a lot of money. It's gonna be highly sought after. And collectors are gonna want things like comic books in good condition, in high grade, especially the comic book series. Like I said, I'm going to complete that series. I'm going to get issues 1, 2, and 3, and I'm most likely going to complete this series and get the full run. I definitely want to complete this series and get the full run. This is A Game of Thrones, issue 1 by Dynamite Entertainment. And over here on the front cover, it says also a new original series from HBO. So they're letting you know right off the bat that this comic book is related to the series, the TV show written by George R. Martin. Okay, so let's see what Key Collector has to say about this book. It's a comic book adaptation of the George R. Martin's Game of Thrones, A Song of Fire and Ice, with illustrations that resemble characters from the HBO series. Cover art by Alex Ross. You know what? I forgot that he did the cover art for this. We owe it another look then. That's the least we can do for Alex Ross. He's a great, I love his artwork. He's a great artist. I always think his artwork is the most epic. And I'm pretty sure that's why they chose him for this, to do this cover, because he does some epic artwork, and this is a really epic cover. I just love having all the wolves on the cover. That's just amazing. Great artwork. These are not speculation comic books. These two franchises, these two series, you know, have just proven the test of time. They're here for the long haul. I would suggest investing in both comic books. Heck, I would suggest investing in any kind of collectible related to Game of Thrones, House of Dragon, Lord of the Rings, Wheel of Time, Willow, any sort of fantasy stuff. Fantasy is huge right now. People are just eating it up. I know I am. I love fantasy. I wish somebody would throw in some sci-fi fantasy into the mix. But these two franchises are great. And again, I would recommend investing in anything Game of Thrones, House of Dragon, Lord of the Rings, especially the comic books, especially if you can find them for the right price. I believe I paid $30 for the Lord of the Rings, and for the Game of Thrones, I think I paid $40, free shipping. If you can get this book for $40, that's a great price to jump in on it. I believe both books in the future are going to be highly sought after, highly collectible, and there's going to be a high demand for them, especially from collectors that want them in high grade, because these are some classic, timeless stories, comic books that you're going to want in your collection for the long haul. I don't think either franchise is going anywhere. Like I said, they're both a part of pop culture, just like Star Trek or Star Wars. And 40 years ago, nobody would have thought of Star Trek issue 1 could be worth so much, or Star Wars issue 1. And I have the same feeling about these two franchises. I think, you know, like I said, Lord of the Rings is already proven to stand the test of time. It is a classic story. It is a classic tale of a journey. And I can't explain how much I love that whole series and reading those books. And Game of Thrones gives me that same exact feeling. And again, I'm really excited. I can't wait to see Willow also. But Game of Thrones gives me that same exact feeling. House of Dragon gives me that same exact feeling. All of the character development, having so many characters and families involved, it just makes for an epic tale. I highly suggest investing in these two comic books, especially for the right price. And I also suggest completing both series and actually reading them and enjoying the story, the tale that they tell.